Technology continues to make inroads into all aspects of life, and nations seek to leverage on this. Nigeria, not to be left behind, is looking into its use for efficiency in as many aspects as are applicable. The country's port systems have been underutilized, even though they have the potential to make exceptional impact on the economy by increasing its gross domestic product (GDP). This explains government's efforts to move with the global tide, integrating technology for Nigeria's maritime sector. On today's program, we shall be focusing on deliberations at a forum on the implementation of the National Single Window, not leaving out the usual suspects or tidbit segments for updates on international maritime events. We'll be right back after this short break.
For more than 5 decades, we have empowered and protected the interests of shippers in the nation's maritime industry. Our focus is to facilitate trade, regulate tariffs and rates, as well as handle shippers' complaints on cargo losses, damage and non-delivery. We offer dispute resolution mechanism for shipping and trade disputes between shippers and service providers. We are Nigerian Shippers Council, Nigeria's port economic regulator, your gateway to a thriving maritime sector. Nigerian Shippers Council will meet you at the port of your need.
You're watching The Shipper, the flagship maritime program on television, proudly brought to you by Nigerian Shippers Council, the nation's port economic regulator. I am Abike Ido. The Honorable Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, His Excellency Adegboyega Oyetola, has said that the implementation of the National Single Window would reduce port operational costs by 25%. How, you may ask? Let's find out in this report compiled by Adeshina Abiodun and Jugai Abraham, which will be presented by Lucy Iyambi.
The National Single Window (NSW) is a digital platform that enables the electronic submission and processing of trade-related documentation. This simplifies and streamlines international trade processes. This platform provides the advantages of reducing transaction costs, increasing efficiency, and improving transparency. Thus, its adoption by countries across the globe. The federal government is looking to position Nigeria as a sub-regional leader in the maritime sector and a trade hub if it can successfully implement the National Single Window. The Honorable Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, His Excellency Adegboyega Oyetola, made this known at the National Single Window Stakeholders Forum held in Lagos recently. He noted that the implementation of National Single Window at the nation's seaports demonstrates the government's commitment to modernizing the processes involved in trading globally and maximizing the utilization of marine resources. The National Single Window initiative is designed to streamline trade facilitation by enabling stakeholders to seamlessly coordinate trade-related transactions across multiple government agencies through a unified electronic platform. This will reduce cargo clearance times at Nigeria's ports by automating procedures and facilitating simultaneous approvals.
Nigeria Marine and Blue Economy represent an untapped gold mine of opportunities. It encompasses a vast spectrum of activities from maritime shipping and fisheries to renewable energy and coastal tourism, with an expansive coastline of 853 kilometers and a maritime area of over 46,000 square kilometers. Our nation is strategically positioned to leverage these resources for sustainable economic growth. Leveraging the implementation of a national single window for Nigeria in the trade industry aligns perfectly with our renewal agenda. It is a strategic enabler for port efficiency, improved revenue collection, and enhanced transparency. Countries like Singapore and the Netherlands have demonstrated how a single window system can revolutionize port operations, elevating their status as global trade hubs. Nigeria can achieve similar success by fully embracing this initiative. By implementing the national single window with all its component parts, we can unlock unprecedented efficiency in port operations, reduce dwell times, and lower the cost of doing business in Nigeria's maritime sector. Based on the experiences from global studies and prime examples of countries who have advanced in similar initiatives.
The chairman, Senate Committee on Finance, Senator Sani Musa, promised to provide legislative support for the National Single Window.
The The National Assembly will prioritize the passage of bills and frameworks required to regulate, enforce, and ensure the successful implementation of transformative initiatives such as the National Single Window, tax reforms, and other policy facilitations, measures that will improve and change the dynamics of the Nigerian economy.
The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Jumoke Oduwole, said the deployment of National Single Window is transformative for trade, noting that the introduction was in line with federal government's initiative on ease of doing business in Nigeria and thus makes the Nigerian market internationally competitive.
The establishment of a national single window system for trade processes in Nigeria is not merely a policy objective. It is a transformative reform that will fundamentally redefine the way trade is conducted across our borders. Our single window project will provide a centralized digital platform for traders to submit, process, and assess trade-related documentation.
The Minister of State for Finance, Dr. Doris Nkiruka Aniti, said that the National Single Window is an initiative that would propel Nigeria to becoming a $1 trillion economy, aid connectivity to global markets, and enhance revenue collection.
The successful implementation of the National Single Window requires strong commitment from all stakeholders, including government agencies, the private sector, and the civil society. By working together, we can leverage this transformative power of this initiative to unlock Nigeria's full trade potential, drive economic growth, and create a more prosperous future for all Nigerians.
Addressing journalists, the Executive Secretary and Chief Executive Officer of Nigerian Shippers Council, Dr. Akuta Pius, MON, said the National Single Window will usher in a revolution in the maritime sector because it will promote efficiency and the ease of doing business. The Council's boss added that the National Single Window will block revenue leakages and encourage cooperation amongst all agencies in the sector.
The Single Window Committee, led by the able Dr. Zach, who is driving this process, has carried everybody along the way. So we are all moving together in the right direction. In the past, these processes were not very smooth, maybe because of the pockets of agitations here and there. But today, everybody's been carried around. I mean, we're on the same page, even as we move from the beginning. So I think it's going to be a very smooth ride, as you can see. There are different platforms, electronic platforms that are existing today. Every one of them will key into this single window, and everybody will access information as a need-to-go basis. So if you need any kind of information, you can be able to access it very easily.
In his presentation, the coordinator of the National Single Window Project, Tola Fakolade, spoke extensively on the objectives and progress thus far recorded.
We have reached out to the heads of agencies to actually nominate representatives from the agencies to be part of the Single Window Project. I can announce to you today that we have 35 members from different agencies that are part of the Single Window Project today. So this is a collaborative effort, and this is a multi-agency effort. Based on our understanding, the single window, it takes 4 to 5 years to have a full single window deployment. And what you have here, you have 2024, we focused on the planning and the assessment. 2025 is our year of implementation of our phase one. Our phase one, we focus mainly on permits and risk management, and we will share more information on that. And then we'll have our phase two. So between 2025 and 2026, in 2025, we will have a single window at 2025 that has some features that can be used, and then we will complete that in 2026. 2027 and 28, we'll focus on adoption. How do we ensure all the agencies and all the users, how do we drive towards more adoption? How do we drive stability? And how do we make this, a normal modus operandi when it comes to import and export process? So that is our overall plan.
The chairman, Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, Dr. Zach Adedeji, described National Single Window as a transformative initiative by President Bola Tinubu, adding that the platform, when implemented, would attract foreign investors and transform Nigeria into a regional trade hub.
Single window is not technological upgrade. It is an a unified platform that integrates all critical players in trade ecosystem: seaports, airports, free trade zone, government agencies, financial institutions, and private sector stakeholders are all interconnected to create seamless system for managing international trade.
The Senior Special Assistant to the President on Policy Coordination, Hajia Hadiza Bala Usman, called for strict compliance with the digital regulation in the deployment of the National Single Window Project, while also pledging the Federation government support for the successful implementation.
We don't want agencies going around the back to get approval to sneak back and refuse to comply to the digital deployment. These are the aspects of political will that we must ensure we have. We also need to have our staff fully abreast of the details of what is required in terms of training and continued training and understanding of what's required. There's also the clear learning curve that exists within other countries that have deployed the single windows. This is important for us to do so that we can look at what they've done and ensure that it happens.
The Director General, Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, Segun Ajayi Kadri, said the association is highly supportive of this initiative as it will add value to both imports and exports.
It is in this regard that I assured the National Single Window Secretariat that manufacturers welcome the emergence of the project. We believe it will signpost a marked improvement in our ease of doing business aspirations, and we are full of expectations that implementation will be seamless and sustainable. It should bring about the resolution of the familiar barriers to trade and abate a major binding constraint to the performance of the manufacturing sector in Nigeria.
The President, Association of Nigerian Licensed Customs Agents and NALCA, Mr. Emenike Nwukoji, welcomed the implementation of National Single Window. He called on the stakeholders to look into issues of inadequate scanning machines, internet network failures, and other impediments that hamper smooth clearance processes of goods.
The infrastructure readiness is very important. What we observe now is most Fridays the network will go off in the afternoon, and it will not come until Monday, because most of the relevant agencies of government do not work on Saturdays and Sunday. So if you are unable to print your exit before 12 o'clock, you may have to close for the weekend. This cannot help in facilitating trade.
The chairman, Nigerian Ports Consultative Council, Bolaji Sumola, said it is a thing of joy to have the National Single Window implemented at the nation's ports. He expressed optimism that the implementation will move Nigeria's economy forward.
That will sanitize our ports. That will make it easy for quick decisions to be reached, for instance, between the customs, raising their duties, their tariffs, and for all consignee to see this on a single platform and be able to react. Payments will be made easier. Dissemination of information and quick processing of the documents will make all this easier. And who gains is the importer, is the general population at the end of the day, because things will become, of course, the cost of doing business will drastically be reduced. So I'm happy for Nigerians. It's a wonderful day. This is a wonderful thing that has happened in the life of our economy at this time. Yes, renew hope. We are hoping that this hope will continue to flourish higher and higher.
The Vice President, Association of Licensed Customs Agents and NALCA, Olusegun Odunton, described the National Single Windows implementation at the ports as a welcome development. He called for training and retraining of their members and upgrade of requisite equipment.
Our information technology, our gadgets be updated, and we flow along with the federal government on this. It's not going to be a challenge if everybody came, and that's why you can see all head of agencies are being invited here. We hope it's not going to be like before, that you all attend and some people will go back to say they are superior, that there's reason why they cannot key into this is that, and they will sabotage. So the government should be able to be up and doing, give a matching order.
Other participants at the forum shared their views on the implementation of the National Single Window.
We are happy to sacrifice ourselves as guinea pigs, right, for any trials, takeoffs. It's very important to us, so we are giving everything to ensure that this is implemented. We've had different journeys with the single window in the past, and it didn't come to light. So we're happy for the stage that has been attained, and we are positive that with the efforts currently being put in by the current administration, that we will have this implemented. So we're in support of it, to the end.
We have all clamored for this for years because of the positive. We have seen other countries who have done same, and so we know that this definitely is a big one for Nigeria economically, and I said even securitizing the nation and also building prosperity for the people. So if people can trade more easily, then more trade will happen, and when more trade happens, that's also prosperity for all.
As time ticks, support for the speedy implementation and deployment of this initiative that will add value to Nigeria's economy is growing.
Rest assured, we'll be tracking this race and you shall have a finish line front row seat. Let's now join Victoria Vala for our Tidbit segment.
Welcome to the Tidbit segment of The Shepa. I am Victoria Yavala, delivering brief stories to keep you informed and inspired. Let's get into today's stories. Nigerian Immigration Service has called for enhanced collaboration with Nigerian Shippers Council to improve efficiency and security in Nigeria's maritime sector. Leading a delegation on a courtesy visit to the NSC headquarters in Lagos, Comptroller, Lagos Seaport and Marine Command, Clementina Ogbudu, emphasized the need for synergy among maritime agencies, urging them to eliminate interagency rivalry for great national progress.
We're here to support you, and being members of PEBEC like you are as well, our role here is to support you in every way we can to ensure that the business environment within the port is safe for every member and our investors coming into the country, and then to tackle one or two problems that I know is threatening both of us. Cases of stowaway, for example, and then maybe a few rules within our enabling books that are not being kept by some vessel owners and all that. And how to sensitize as well members of public concerning the risk of irregular migration and all that. We need your support as well, and then how all hands should be on deck to ensure that that is done effectively.
Speaking at the meeting, the Executive Secretary and CEO of Nigerian Shippers Council, Dr. Pius Akuta MON, highlighted the crucial role of collaboration in achieving the objectives of the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, PEBEC. He also underscored the importance of immigration services in port security.
Most of the agencies have their mandates cross into other agencies. So you talk about overlaps. And some of the agencies have looked at those overlaps as grounds for which they can begin to create territory for themselves and engage in tough territory protections. So at the end of the day, that collaborative effort is not actually, found within their relationship. So the interpersonal relationship between agencies of government is very crucial. By the way, every agency is just, implementing bits and pieces of the presidential powers or the executive powers of the president. So it is a duty of heads of agencies to understand that where there are overlaps in the mandates of agencies, it is to complement each other. It is not to create tough territories and begin to fight each other. And I think that is the role that PEBEC has to play in bringing agencies together and fostering collaboration and unity between agencies of government, working together in implementing their individual mandates. And where those mandates cross, they should know that they need to complement each other, not to fight each other. The seaport is also a point of entry, not only for goods and services, but also for people. So you are much, much relevant in the seaport as you are in the airports. You are. Your presence is very crucial. I remember when I was in the Ministry of Justice, I had a case I was prosecuting, and I needed to issue a red notice against certain individuals who are foreigners. And I wrote a mutual legal assistance request to those countries to give me information about the passports of these individuals, and they were unwilling to do so. Rightly so, because they are their citizens. I had to fall back to the Nigerian Immigration Service because these individuals came into Nigeria to sign the business transactions. We went back to the records and were able to fish out the data pages of those individuals. And as a result of that, we issued those red notices. And those people had to come down to negotiate with the respective bank. And at the end of the day, they brought in $1 billion in this economy.
Both agencies reaffirmed their commitment to working together, stressing that the improved cooperation will drive economic growth and strengthen Nigeria's maritime industry. To stay informed, do follow our social media pages at NG Shippers on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and X. Let's turn to our complaint register for the week. Nigerian Shippers Council has received 4 complaints currently under investigation. These include conspiracy, forgery and stealing, outrageous shipping fees, excessive groupage charges, and breach of contracts. We encourage stakeholders to visit our website at www.shipperscouncil.gov.ng for more information or to lodge their concerns. Let's direct our focus to the global maritime sector. India is set to become a global maritime powerhouse with a $6 billion budget. The government has proposed a $3 billion maritime development fund to boost Indian flagged ships' share in global trade. The budget also supports domestic shipbuilding with new clusters planned across 5 states and $700 million allocated for shipyard upgrades. Additionally, a shipbreaking credit scheme will incentivize vessel recycling to modernize the fleet. India aims to be a top 10 shipbuilding nation by 2030. In another development, Oman's state-owned Asiad Group plans to acquire 33 new vessels, expanding its fleet to serve Europe, Japan, and South Korea. The $2.7 billion investment will boost Asiad shipping's capacity, especially in LNG, as Oman's gas production grows. Asiad also plans a $1 billion IPO, offering 20% of its shares. With major port partnerships in integrated logistics services, the expansion strengthens Asiad's position as a top regional maritime player. That brings us to the end of this week's Tidbit segment on The Shipper. Stay connected and see you next time.
For more than 5 decades, we have empowered and protected the interests of shippers in the nation's maritime industry. Our focus is to facilitate trade, regulate tariffs and rates, as well as handle shippers' complaints on cargo losses, damage and non-delivery. We offer dispute resolution mechanism for shipping and trade disputes between shippers and service providers. We are Nigerian Shippers Council, Nigeria's port economic regulator, your gateway to a thriving maritime sector. Nigerian Shippers Council will meet you at the port of your need.
Anchor away, signifying our journey's endpoint for today. Hoping you've been educated and informed. We expect you to join us on our next journey. Remember to follow us on all our social media channels at NG Shippers for more updates. Do have a swimmingly great week ahead. Goodbye.